everybody. I did not come in here with my Canadian tuxedo. Kendrick did it for me with the five award sweep there. Harrison knows all about that, right, Drake fan? Anyway, this is the Chasing Points podcast. And we are back for episode 161 of the Chasing Points podcast. Harrison is currently at the Grammys. He's recovering from that right now. He's at a golf outing at the Grammys. He's golfing with Tiger Woods, his best friend. And Sam and I are just here in the cold. So, Harrison, how is Tiger?
Tiger's great. I'm sorry I have to leave you guys. I'm actually down in Myrtle Beach, so it's like 65 right now. It's great. I was watching the Grammys last night, but I had to turn it off once Kendrick started popping out and showing.
He did have to pop out. He did pop out very well.
So I had to take a leave.
I get it.
I love Kendrick.
I did not know.
I didn't know the Grammys were last night. Go on. That's all I got to say.
I did also not know that Teddy Swims was white.
Excuse me? Like, for real? You're not joking? You're dead serious about this right now?
Dead serious. I'm dead serious. It caught me by complete surprise.
So this song's been playing for like 2 years straight, essentially, and not once you decided to look up and see what he looked like.
No, I swear to God, on the album art there was a black guy on it, and I was gravely mistaken.
This is great. This is also showing that you're officially old now, Harrison.
Woo!
100%.
This is a great way to start the podcast. I love that you did not know that.
I did know Shabuzi was black, but I did not know what Teddy Swims was white.
That's very, very. I'm glad you knew that. That's a plus. I guess we'll just run with that. Sam, so you didn't catch any of the Grammys then?
Oh no,
you watched the highlights
after.
Okay,
I didn't know it was on as it was on, and I was like, "Oh crap, the Grammys on." Then I caught up. But yeah,
gotcha. I will say this before we get into some sports. I would be okay if Trevor Noah never hosted any show ever again. Be perfectly fine with that because I do not find him funny at all. But that's just me, and I've seen him host like several things, and his jokes miss so many times for me. But also shout out to the girl that shooed off Babyface for Chaperone. Good job for that, sweetheart. If you didn't see that, you guys should check that clip out. Yeah, she literally just shooed him off. It was like, oh yeah, we're done with you, Babyface, and forgot the guy that is an absolute legend. But cool.
I have one idea for the Grammys. I don't want to belabor the Grammys.
It's fine. Like, there's not anything going on in sports this week at all.
I would
wasn't a crazy weekend in the NBA or the biggest football game in the year.
Okay, we'll get to it, Sam. Don't worry about it.
I would really love if the Grammys played off long speeches with the person's own music.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like got louder and louder. That was one of my thoughts last night.
Yeah, because it's just like instrumental, right?
Yes, just play them off with their own song until they can't have their speech anymore.
I like that. I actually honestly like that. I think I'm with that. You got my vote. You got my vote.
I'll send in the suggestion.
He's Harrison, and he approves this message. All right, so let's get to this. It's episode 161, as I mentioned already, at Chasing Points. We gave you our takes on the Grammys. Where did you think that you would hear that on a sports podcast? You can eat it. Thank you for that. We got NBA news. Let me say that again. We got NBA news. I know if you've been listening to this podcast pretty much all this year, you've heard nothing but football outside of.
We keep saying we'll get to it. We'll get to
it. Well, guess what?
It's here, baby.
Guess what? This news made us get to it, so don't you even worry about it. And if you have been living under a rock like Patrick Starr, or you just slept through this like most of us did on the East Coast, there's a trade that happened, and it was Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis were traded to the opposite teams. And this happened overnight. Waking up to this, I saw tweets. Somebody sent it to me. I laughed. I was just like, okay, who's playing like a joke with me? And then I saw Shams and looked at Shams' account, and people were saying like Shams hacked again. And nope, all of a sudden I saw it on Bleacher Report, saw it on ESPN, and then I started seeing it from several reliable sources. And I said, oh shit, this is real. Luka was traded to the Lakers with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. The Mavs got AD. Max Christie, and a 2029 first round pick. The Jazz got Jalen Hood, a 2025 second round pick, and a second round pick, another 2025 second round pick via the Clippers. This immediately puts Luka out of getting a supermax contract. So this deal immediately loses Luka $100 million. People have killed for less. And this man has now got $100 million removed, an opportunity of that removed. The talk of the contract he was supposed to get or potentially getting was a 5-year, $345 million contract next year with the Mavs, and that will not be happening. Gentlemen, I've said enough. I 100% need to hear what you guys think of this. We barely spoke about this via text, and I know we kind of all wanted to wait for this. So, Harrison, you've been itching and dying to speak about basketball, so I'm going to give you the floor here on this one.
Off the course.
Yes,
literally.
Off the course for this one.
Off the course for this podcast
yes.
right
Did.
Go ahead,
yeah,
man.
we've been saying we're going to talk about the NBA, but it's like an oil tank for just, we'll get to it eventually. I saw the trade at 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching Lakers and Knicks, and LeBron was going crazy and doing his thing at MSG, the King of New York. And then I saw this trade, and I couldn't believe it. I'm still a little bit speechless about it. I still don't quite understand it. The reasoning the Mavs gave is just asinine. Yeah, I kind of want to hear what you guys think, because I think kind of the discourse around it is still just disbelief at trading Luka Doncic at 25 years old. It's the craziest trade in NBA history. Like, people say that and it's like hyperbole. No, this like actually is. Like, to trade Luka Doncic at 25 years old, it makes absolutely zero sense. Zero.
The thing that came to mind was Mookie Betts getting traded to the Dodgers for like a bag of balls because the Red Sox don't want to pay him. And I know that's a baseball analogy, but like here's a guy who's not even like in his prime yet. He's been hurt. He's been, the out of shape rumors have been, that's been a narrative throughout his career and whatnot. But, to just like in the middle of the night, like trade him to the biggest brand in basketball and in sports without like even like a bidding war. Like it's not like you pulled one over on the Lakers and it's like, well, you gotta like hope he hits accept before like, he realizes what, like this is malpractice, like on every level. Like sure, Luka might be a bad egg. I know all this stuff is going to come out. I don't really know. I haven't read much of it yet.
Oh, I got you on that. Don't you worry.
Yeah, I know you're about to unload on all this, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm saying, regardless of what the situation is, like this is like, and to see what like we're going to talk about another trade in like a couple minutes here, where it's like, that's a lot for De'Aaron Fox, and it's nice, that's good, but like this is just malpractice, not to like court one of the top 5 players in the league, like just and putting it from a trade value perspective of like how young they are, how good they are, and like he dragged this team to the finals last year. Like, so regardless of if he's in shape or like all the tones are bad, like the perception stuff, like you want to get ahead of it, that's cool, but like maybe just like throw some feelers out there, not just talk in a silo to one team and just give them away. No disrespect to Anthony Davis, but like these guys don't come on the market very often. And when they do, they demand a return that we have talked about on this podcast for 4 years now, whether it's the original Anthony Davis trade or Kawhi or Paul, the Paul George thing, what Miles Bridges, the Bridges trade to from the Nets, what the Nets and Knicks gave up for that, and you're looking at it like that's it. So it was just confusing, and I think it was there's a lot of rumors, a lot of things, but it doesn't make much sense, and I'm not really sure what I could hear in the next week that would make it make sense, because it was Dallas's problem internally, and they could have just gotten not 50 cents on the dollar and got better value. So
it's like 40 cents on a dollar.
Yeah, it's just bad business.
So number one, Rudy Gobert was traded for 4 first-round picks, and Luka was traded for 1. I know obviously AD is involved in this pick in this trade, but 4 and Luka 1. As you said, Miles Bridges I think was traded for like 5 first-round picks.
Mikal Bridges,
for 5 first-round picks.
Yeah,
so very, very interesting of what it calls for. There was no market for this because the only 2 people that spoke about this is Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison, who are very, very close and have a very close relationship. For those that don't understand the history, because I did a little diving here, watched a couple things. They go as far back as Kobe. And I mean, when Rob Pelinka was managing for Kobe, whatnot. The trade that moving Kobe from Adidas to Nike had Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison involved. That's how the deal got done for him to going from Adidas to Nike. For those that didn't know that, so they've been cool, known each other for years. Getting him to the Lakers, all that jazz. So this is something that it's been talked about. Watching
the Lakers GM was Kobe's agent,
correct,
and the Mavs GM was an executive at Nike.
Thank you, Sam. So for me, I hate it because of all the things you guys said. Is Luka is 25 years old. He's considered to be one of the faces of the NBA, and he's not even in his prime at this point. He's very close to it. That Supermax would have been it. But I know the confusion is still upon us. I'm still confused about it. This is not something that if we put in 2K right now, this trade would get denied every single time we try to do it, no matter what. But if we look at it and take out our feelings and everything like that, in the immediate future, this helps the Mavs in a certain way. And because they get a big man that is a two-way player, one of the better big men is a two-way player, they get size. Now they have more spacing, obviously, with Kyrie being able to be the playmaker that he is. Clay kind of being whatever form he is, hitting 7 threes the other day. If Clay can kind of be that as they move towards the playoffs, that could help. And again, you need a big body to go against Jokic, but we already saw what Jokic did to him. On the other side, it's the Lakers preparing for life without LeBron. And I know everybody's talking about right now is how is this going to bode with LeBron and Luka together? How are they going to play well together? And I know there's rumors now circling of LeBron to Golden State, which has been talked about for like the last couple of years of having the Akron boys together. But LeBron has to waive his no trade clause, which it doesn't seem like is going to happen. But a lot can happen in a week. So we can see what will happen there. But I think they are 100% preparing for the future, especially that LeBron said, I got 1 to 2 years left. So why not go out and get the guy that is one of the faces of the league and essentially get him for, and I know this is going to sound bad saying this, but I mean, AD is 31 years old. AD he's not healthy all the time, as we always know. I call him Mr. Glass. I talk about him every single time I can. So this guy is not healthy all the time. Going with another player like Klay Thompson, who's not healthy all the time. So that's it's high risk, high reward for the Mavs. But for the Lakers, they didn't really get rid of too much, and they kept some of their core pieces and can continue to build around Luka from this point. So I think I know people are asking like who won this trade, and I think currently, right now up front, the Mavs have won this trade at the moment. But it's hard to say that because obviously we're looking at who Luka is, right? It is like Luka is a top 5-3 player, like the top five, right, player in the league. And I'm saying that AD just went there, but I'm just talking about it from a whole team dynamic and what happens. Now, if we want to get into the nitty gritty of stuff that has been now circulating, as Sam said, we're going to hear a lot of stuff, and we're already starting to hear things about this, right? So one thing is that Luka and Jason Kidd were not informed about this trade at all. Apparently, Rob Pelinka did speak to LeBron and AD and Clutch Sports about this very briefly, but they did not speak to on Nico's side. He did not speak to Luka and did not speak that. And Stephen A. Smith actually said something very intriguing to me. He said, normally in trades like this, when you're a superstar player in the league, if you're going to be traded to some place, they normally have a conversation with you. They give you a hint. They let you know, especially if you have 9 figures on the board that is going to be potentially removed from you. And they didn't do that. So also the rumor going with that is, and I think Wendy said this. Yeah, he did say this. He said that an NBA All-Star wrote a text to him and said, the Mavs must really hate Luka Doncic for this to happen this way. So it's curious because now obviously all the pieces are being put together. I know the weight is the issue. Defense is definitely a part of the issue here. But Nico Harris said that essentially that Luka didn't fit.
I don't want to call Luka a liar, but like, I just don't believe him in a sense. Like he had to have told them, I'm not resigning. Like that's the only thing that makes sense. And even then, it still doesn't make sense because you can still put it out to a bidding war, and you're not going to lose value for him because he's Luka Doncic.
Correct.
But I don't know. Something is not adding up.
It's not.
Something is not adding up.
The playbook here is, and we've talked about it in this whole player movement era, is like sign the deal, figure it out later. Get the extra $100 million, Luka, and figure it out later. But like, I understand getting in front of it, but like, getting in front of it is Jimmy Butler and the Heat right now, because they should have tried, and they've been trying to trade him for months now, and probably even just the worst kept secret in the league for much longer. But now you're at a point where there is diminishing returns.
Absolutely.
And Jimmy just isn't showing up.
Nope.
He's done this behavior in Minnesota and Chicago. Like he's
all suspended indefinitely too. On top of that,
so that's what I mean. Like now it's too late. Like if you have all of these grievances with Luka, and there's been rumblings, and we've heard it. We're not connected. We've heard these things, but still, you can't just you gotta, when a premier player like this is available, like. AD is a great player and will help this team. They have other big guys. Like, it's weird, but that's all they got from the Lakers. Even just the bench pieces they have, or like was Connect or Austin Reeves, like just other like value there. Like they didn't have a lot of picks, and it's not all about picks. I mean, AD is look what AD went for 5 years ago. I mean, it was the whole Lakers, lottery from X amount of years, but it's just bad business, man. It's just because you have this asset, and I don't like I say this all the time. I don't like talking about these gentlemen like their assets, but they are, and that's how they're looked at. And here you have they just hit like the turnover button like immediately. Like you just saved the Lakers from like this like the post Kobe like post
LeBron
that happened. Post LeBron now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's gone. You have reset this team, and they did it for nothing. So whatever needs to still be uncovered, it's worth Luka Doncic and Max Christie and a first round pick, where if Luka is still playing the way he's playing now, that first round pick is meaningless in a few years. So it's just it's crazy. It's so crazy.
So like the overweight thing too, like that hasn't mattered. He dragged them to the finals last year. Like
he plays himself into shape every year.
Yeah, you could say all the time like, oh, he comes in out of shape, or he's dogging it on defense, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. None of that has mattered. He's been a perennial all-star, a perennial MVP candidate, and he took that team to the finals last year, and he's 25 years old.
Yeah,
and the peak in the NBA is 26, 27, 28. And he hasn't even hit that yet. So I'm just
He's not Zion. Like it's not. There's two different type of overweight. There's Zion overweight and there's Luka overweight. Luka plays himself back into that and still producing. Zion can't even stay on the court and has a ton of off the court issues. And this is not. I mean, he just caught a stray, but I mean, he's also rumored right now. They're rumored to be shopping him right now. There's a lot of rumors of players being shopped right now. But I think one of the two things that I took away from this, one, if you remember, AD openly said that they needed another big man recently. And
they have no big men.
They're throwing this out there on top of that, and reports of things that I've read have said that kind of rubbed the Lakers front office again. Again, people just use your eyes and ears and see through the BS, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's said that may be true, may not be true, but these are organizations or brands, so they got to make themselves look good while they're doing this certain things, because they know it's going to affect their fans. If you don't believe me, just go on any social media platform and type in Dallas Mavericks fans, and you can just see how they're all crashing out right now, wanting to burn their stuff and so on and so forth. So you got that side of it. But for me, just thinking about what is this league going to look like now? What is this do to the West Coast, right? What does this do to the Western Conference? And I'm looking at this like there's still, this is like kind of, how can I say this? This is kind of like the old school way of building the teams compared to what some of these newer teams are doing, younger teams are doing. And I'm talking about like the Rockets, the Cavs, and so on and so forth, right? They do have a superstar, but now the Lakers, the moves that they've done prior to this, I don't know if I'm sure that I believe that they're going to build the right thing around Luka. You see what I'm saying? Like, they had LeBron James. They got some pieces. Obviously, I know the pieces there that I actually really like. But do you have confidence, and this is an overall question to you guys, do you have confidence in the Lakers front office and that they're going to get the pieces to build around Luka when we've seen what they've done with LeBron and AD during this time, and going from the beginning to when they won the championship to now to this point in time?
If they make one more trade for a mediocre big, like during this trade deadline, they are a team I would not want to play in.
Yep. They just need size.
They just need, one more piece. I think they're going to be defensively not great, but they weren't that before either. Like, even with AD, they were okay. This makes them a little worse, but offensively, LeBron and Luka together, I can see that working really well, and it's definitely a team that I do not want to see if I'm another team in the West.
Do not be surprised if they reach out to the Nets for Claxton.
100%. Like, that would be a perfect,
phenomenal move if they do that. Yep.
I don't know what they have left to give, but if they could pull that off and get like a big, like a Claxton, like, why not?
Yeah.
And that's a quick reset, because they were going nowhere as currently constructed. They just didn't. And they've kind of found some life into it right now, and it's a team that should be feared.
I think this turns into a situation where it's like just this reset so quickly is confusing. And at first I was more hung up on, this doesn't make sense for the Lakers. This doesn't, like, from a position standpoint. And then I thought about it. I'm like, you just get the guy. You figure it out later. Like, it's fine. I mean, LeBron is an anomaly here at 40 years old. I mean, he's achieving things, and, the way he's playing even now, you mentioned it, Harrison, like his performance on Saturday at the Garden. I know, that's always been a place where he shows up.
Off. Yeah.
He doesn't need an invitation to show up anywhere. Yeah. He's LeBron James, and it's what has made him so great for 20 years. But this now, he takes his foot off the gas a little more. He can be a little more methodical, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. This is wild.
Well, let me ask you both, because I said who I think won right now. Who do you guys think won right now?
Lakers, easily.
Okay.
I don't know what you could tell me to tell me that the Mavericks won this trade at this moment. Like, I don't know what the elephant in the room is yet. The curtain has been pulled back. It could be something crazier. I don't know. But still, just the perception of get what you can. This doesn't make any sense.
I just think, look at it from the sense, like, if you're the Lakers, you do this trade 100 out of 100 times.
Yeah. You don't even
100 out of 100 times.
And
if
it could have been like,
Mavericks,
throw in this guy. Okay. How about this pick? Okay. All these stupid second round picks that get added. I don't know what the war chest looks like for the Lakers. The pick swaps and all that.
Could you imagine what the Spurs would have gave up for Luka?
That's what I mean. But that's what I mean. Like, you could get whatever you want if you are the Dallas Mavericks in this league, pretty much, for him. So if you want a steady, proven guy now that is below this, first ballot, no doubt, Hall of Fame tier potential that we're talking about. I mean, I think AD is there, but he's in this like second tier of all-star in the league. You could get two of those guys and more if you want to win right now. That's why this makes no sense. And if you wanted just a hard reset, look what the Kings just, that Kings Spurs trade, and the Spurs, the Thunder, is there a richer team in the league as far as assets go? It's just, that's why this makes no sense. To get 40 cents on the dollar is insane.
And I think there's four guys in the league I wouldn't trade straight up for Luka. It's Giannis, Jokic, Wemby, and Shea. It's about it.
Well, before we move on, I just want to remind people or let people know that if they weren't aware, Nico Harrison was also the GM of the Mavericks during the time when Jalen Brunson had came up for a contract, and he decided not to pay him. Didn't believe that he was going to be potentially what he is, and now he is an all-star, and now he lets Luka walk. So I think he has now ascended to being up there with Jerry Jones in Dallas for probably most hated for a franchise. He's up there. Jerry's got a little longer time there, but he's probably up there now.
No, I didn't realize this was the same guy, but he's the Nike executive that when Steph was at Nike still was calling him Steven and calling him Seth, or it's spelt out Steven and it was calling him Seth. Yep. Yeah. And during the whole pitch, and Steph was like, what? And he ended up going to Under Armour. Like, this, it's the same guy. Yeah. I didn't think that was true, but it's true. Like, that's embarrassing enough. Because at the time, Steph Curry was not he was not playing at Dayton. Like this, like he was already an established star in this league at that moment. It's crazy, man.
Nico is, I can guarantee he should probably not go to any restaurants in Dallas right now. He should probably just lay low for a little bit, brother. That's crazy, man. That's what I think for you. There was another trade though. This trade is more of a traditional trade. It makes sense. You have De'Aaron Fox traded to the Spurs. Zach LaVine goes to the Kings in a 3-team trade. So the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. You got Kings get Zach LaVine. How do you say this dude's name? Whatever.
I got nothing for you.
Okay, cool. City. We'll go with that.
I think it might be Kasoko.
Oh, okay, we'll go with that. Three first round picks, 2025 from Charlotte, 2027 from San Antonio, and then 2031 from Minnesota. 3 second round picks, 2025 from Chicago, 2028 from Denver, and 2028 owned back. And then the Bulls get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Kevin Huerter, right? Is his name? Huerter. There you go.
That's just a salary dump.
Their own 2025 pick from Spurs. So, gentlemen, what is your thoughts on this trade?
Can I just say, Harrison, I'll give it to you, but I just want to say what we texted last night, and my initial response to this was, this is the most Sacramento Kings thing ever. This is just the most like Kings. I'm happy that they got, everything that they could have given, the Spurs could have given for Luka here. But to take on Zach LaVine in a salary dump is the most Kings thing ever. And I was laughing hysterically. Carry on.
I think it's a normal, pretty fair NBA trade. I think, all these teams get something they've desired or get rid of someone that doesn't want to be there anymore. And that seemed to be De'Aaron Fox, who had problems with, Mike Brown. Mm-hmm. So
he's not there either.
Got fine. I think they ran him out of town.
They did.
But Zach LaVine has actually been playing underratedly very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't think the Kings are going many places, but get a little bit of new blood in there. And then for the Bulls, the Zach LaVine was getting moved sooner or later, and they got a pretty good return for him. So Yeah, De'Aaron Fox on the Spurs, that's going to be cool. I mean, I don't know who runs the point, who runs the two. You got Castle, you got Chris Paul, now you have De'Aaron Fox, but he's a great player with the ability to go off for 50 points on any given night. The guy can just straight out score the ball. So yeah, Spurs got
and
a good
the speed and the size that that Spurs team too, and now add De'Aaron Fox there, who's probably the fastest dude still in the league. If not,
love it for him.
Right there. It's great. And you didn't have to, I know the jury's still out, but like Steven Castle looks great. You didn't have to give up Vassell either. Like there's not win right now, or just, you're not throwing in SGA in the, in that awful Paul George trade. Like this is like, you're giving up draft picks that could be whatever, and that the Kings will probably, not take Luka and take Marvin Bagley 9 out of 10 times. So like, again, draft picks are draft picks. It's, I know we're all used to it now, but like to not give up like any depth here really is a nice move for the Spurs. And I love the speed of Fox and
agreed.
Agreed. How this team plays.
I'm just happy that De'Aaron finally is going to get some more love because essentially he was tucked away in the league in Sacramento, and most stars that are there are tucked away until they're not tucked away. I mean, you got Halliburton, you got him. They continue to have phenomenal players that they do draft and they just suck as Sacramento. It's crazy to see, because I know when the three of us grew up, the Sacramento Kings were a completely different organization, fighting for a chance to get up towards the finals, and always, obviously, they kept running into the Lakers. But those teams compared to teams now, it's just night and day. Also, I mean, the fact that they fired Mike Brown, what was it, a year removed or 2 years removed after him being coach of the year? It's as Sam said, it's such a Sacramento Kings thing to do, which really, really sucks. But yeah, no, I'm happy De'Aaron Fox is going to a team that he'll definitely be on TV now, and people will absolutely get to see his talent. And I know it was highlighted a couple of years ago when they made that run, and they were one of the top teams in the West. They were number 2, right? It was that weird 3-way team thing year, right?
They were up there.
Yeah. So to see the true talent again, and also putting pieces around Wemby. We talked about it when Wemby was drafted, and then after seeing what he did his rookie year, is that 100% his talent alone was going to attract players. And now you got a young De'Aaron Fox there who can also take the time to learn from Chris Paul too, and I know they'll figure out what goes from there. But if I'm De'Aaron, I'm soaking up all the knowledge I possibly can from Chris Paul to learn the game in a different aspect, because you're playing alongside a future Hall of Famer, and I would absolutely take that. The Zach LaVine part, I mean, it's kind of, Harrison, I know you talked about it. It's been talked about for years now of Zach LaVine being removed. It kind of sucks that it happens now with them playing so well, and Lonzo Ball there back, and that a story that I don't think is being talked about enough in the NBA, of him coming back and playing well after essentially not being able to play. It kind of reminds me of the whole Klay Thompson situation, where it just could not get back on the court due to injuries and whatnot. And now he's back, and just seeing the love that his teammates give him. They do have a good young nucleus there, but I think the Bulls at this point are going to be selling, and it's because they're not going anywhere. So shout out to them for that. Yeah, I'm just very curious to see what the Spurs do now. It's the West Coast was always hard. It just now, with the new generation of young ballers in the league now, and how they continue to come in and how these rosters are being built, the West is going to be very, very interesting. And once Steph is gone, once Bron is gone, which is definitely very soon for Bron, Steph might be soon, or even if he's not soon, the West Coast is going to look completely different from what we've seen in the 2020s and then the 2010s. It's going to be very interesting, because there's going to be teams like the Rockets that are going to be the top team, or OKC, and so on and so forth. So I'm happy to see this uprise of young players. So I like the trade, needless to say. Where does Jimmy Butler go? I think that was the biggest thing that everybody was waiting to hear happen. Move now. where does he go? If I'm the Spurs, I'm trying to get a Jimmy Butler, put him on the team. Who else would he actually, I heard that he turned down the option of going to Golden State, because Golden State actually right now has been a report that they are actively reaching out to teams to try to get another all-star to pair with Steph. But apparently Jimmy shut that down, which I think is very interesting that he did that. Where do you think Jimmy goes?
I don't care. I also don't care either. I think he's over the hill.
Okay.
Not a lot left to offer. But I did hear the rumor today, Jimmy Butler to the Sixers, Paul George to the Warriors, Andrew Wiggins to the Heat. Some three-way trade.
Why are we sending him back to the Sixers?
I don't know. It would just move everyone else's problems.
It's like these.
I don't know how he gets to the Spurs because of the salary. So it has to be something crazy like that. Like the money needs to match up.
I don't think the Spurs can.
Yeah.
But that's the one today.
Yeah. It's got to be something crazy with money-wise to make it all work. But again, you have just an ass, like the wrong side of, his age, whatever it is. And just the,
It's 35.
Yeah, and just the behavior and just like, okay, how good is Jimmy? Like, how focused is Jimmy going to be? No, if Heat culture can't do it, quote unquote, how great Heat culture is, like, then I
think you get a guy right away that's motivated to prove people wrong. Like, he's always played well with a chip on his shoulder. And I'd love to have him for, this one season or two, but the contract that he's going to demand after that, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good on
that. Is this a walk year this year?
No.
Oh, so you have another year? Well, that makes it a little different. But
while you're looking that up, Harrison, but Sam, you said something about the Heat culture. I think the Heat culture thing is a little overrated in the sense that you had Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and prior to that, you had Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, and those players. Like, those type of players are gritty as hell and push that issue. And Pat Riley 100% pushed that. I don't think the Heat way is that. And it was cool. It was a cool story when it was like a bunch of unsung heroes, and then you let those guys got exposure, and now they went to different teams. The Heat need to figure out what to do, and Pat Riley needs to, I guess, be innovative in this day and age of basketball and really work within the confinements of what the NBA is now and not his old ways, because his old ways may be rubbing people the wrong way. Again, we're not there, but we see this all the time in sports, right? Is the older heads have their way of doing things, and it's the older way because it worked or whatnot, and now there's a new generation in and it doesn't necessarily work that way anymore, and they have to adjust. It was kind of like going back to that conversation Harrison and I had last week about Pete Carroll, even though I was confused and didn't realize he was only gone for a year. But again, he's an older person that has his ways and a system that work for him, but how are you going to use your ways and then also infuse it with how the game is being played now? And I think the Heat way needs to be updated. And I to Harrison's point, Jimmy always plays with a chip, and I think it's what he does is once it seems like it's run its course, he knows when it's running its course, and he's just like, I got to get out. I got to do something to get out, and I know I got to go somewhere else because I still have something left in the tank. But this is his last hurrah wherever he goes. But after that, it is what it is.
He's signed through 25, 26, so not even his walk year. He's like that. He's like that hard ass coach that you like bring on, and it like works for 2 years, and then by the third year, all of the players like are burned.
Like, we're done.
That's what the cycle is.
Yeah.
Today. So
and also, I mean, Jimmy also has some knocks on himself, and I'm not even talking about what the perceived attitude of Jimmy is because he pushes people for sure. And you want that in a guy at times to push you and make you better. And there's some players in the league that just can't handle that. But Jimmy's never healthy. That's the issue, is that we call him playoff Jimmy because that's the only time he can play, because that's the only time he's healthy. Let's be real about it. Like, he's not healthy during the regular season, but he's healthy during the playoffs. So that's when he goes off, because he didn't have to go through the whole wear and tear of the season. Like, it's just watch it. It's what happens with Jimmy. And it's not a necessary knock on him. Some people are just injury prone and it just happens that way. but that's why he's playoff Jimmy, and he's able to go and do what he does from there. Just kind of is what it is. It's right in front of everybody. Just call it what it is. But I do enjoy him. I don't know how his coffee business is going to do once he leaves Miami, but it is what it is. Super Bowl preview.
Oh, that's this weekend?
That is definitely this weekend.
Yeah, Sunday.
Eagles, Chiefs, the rematch as they're deeming it. It is on Sunday, Nolans. Gentlemen, I know I'm excited. The Chiefs are one win away from a three-peat, and they would be the first team in the Super Bowl era to do this. The Eagles are looking for redemption from 2023. We have some key factors that I want to go through with you guys about, and there's some players here in defense, and I'll stop with each of them. And unless you guys have your own key factors, which obviously just throw it in. But some key factors I have here. I'll start with Patrick Mahomes. Number one key factor always in the Super Bowl is Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the league. The Chiefs live or die with him. If he doesn't go, they don't go. So we get that. He has the opportunity to obviously make history. He played one of his best games of the whole entire year against the Bills 2 weeks ago now. And I think, I mean, we all know what Patty can do, so I don't really have to spend too much time, in my opinion, on what he can do. I just know it depends on him. If he doesn't turn the ball over, it's going to be a very close game. But if he does, it could definitely go the other way. Any thoughts on Patty before I go to the next key factor? Take your silence as no. Jalen Hurts.
He's the best quarterback in football, and he's fine.
Just knows how to win.
Yeah.
Knows how to win.
Fair. Jalen Hurts, the other key factor here. All year, I've, as an Eagles fan, had to hear people talk about how Jalen Hurts apparently can't throw the ball, as if he has not thrown the ball well in several occasions. And that the reason that the Eagles are here is because of Saquon, even though 2 years ago they didn't have Saquon and they got there without Saquon. But then they also said it was because of A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But Jalen Hurts had one of his best throwing games in the last game against the Commanders. I believe he's a key factor here is if Spags and the Chiefs defense sells out for Saquon Barkley, which is a problem in itself if they do that, can Jalen dot the ball throughout the time? He's going to go against one of the best corners in the league, if not the best corner in the league, in McDuffie. So that is something to look out for. Thoughts on that, gentlemen?
No, we talked about it all year. Yeah. Go ahead, Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, he's taken his, fair share of knocks, but I think he's ready. I mean, he's ready for this game. I think he's ready for the moment. He's going to need to step up. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think it's going to come down to him, making plays. I do think they will potentially be able to bottle up Saquon a little bit. That they'd be smart to. I mean, that's kind of what you have to take away, to have a chance. But I think he's going to be up to the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it all year. You said it, Harrison, a couple weeks ago. Like, Jalen's doing everything right, and he's managing the game. I'm not calling him a game manager, but he's managing the game really well. He's protecting the football. I mean, he threw 5 picks this year. Last year he had 15. So, and I can't see fumbles right in front of me. It doesn't matter. He's protecting the football. The line has had its moments, and of course, yeah, it helps when you have Saquon Barkley, who could easily win MVP, and right behind you, and you have the weapons on the outside that you have, and just the way this team is built is scary, and it doesn't always all come together, and they can't always figure out how to win. But you've said it for 2 years now, Hayes. They almost won that Super Bowl, and it's completely within reason that they can do it again. It's just playing smart football, protecting the football, and just everyone showing up. And yeah, I mean, Jalen's not he threw for under 3,000 yards. Okay, it's fine. He had a better completion percentage this year than last year. Like it's you can't be everything to everyone kind of thing. And he's winning football games. So who cares?
Thank you, because that is exactly what I was going to say before I close it out. Is I know people want him. They when Jalen does throw the ball well and then he turns the ball over, is he does this, and it's always seems to they move the goalpost every time from him. I don't understand why. I don't know what
these are the same idiots that are saying Lamar Jackson, who's going to win his third MVP, is like, it's so blah blah blah. Like, yeah, okay, Lamar can't beat Patrick Mahomes. You know who else can't beat? And I've gone through this list. Like, who else can't beat Patrick Mahomes?
Everybody else that's not named
everybody else. Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts hasn't beat him yet. Josh Allen hasn't beat him yet. There's a reason, and no one beat Tom Brady before that. And Big Ben, Peyton, like these guys exist, and it's the same idiots that are saying Lamar is washed or not good are the same people that. But
that's fine. That's fine, because at the end of the day, all that matters is a W, right? And Jalen continues to win. He's won on every single level. He will continue to win and go from there. And I hear these. My favorite part about media, which has been, is a lot of these people that are criticizing him, Jalen Hurts, are backup quarterbacks in the league that were former backup quarterbacks in the league that never amounted to anything. Meanwhile, Peyton Manning and Tom Brady have both said Jalen has every single thing to win. Peyton literally said this week that last year or 2 years ago that Jalen Hurts reached out to him and asked him what to do. He said he didn't hear from Jalen at all this year. He said Jalen's got everything that he needs to do to win the championship, and he's a born winner. So there's that. But this year he has Saquon Barkley behind him, the guy that's 40 yards away from having the greatest rushing season in NFL history from the playoffs and the regular season. Again, thank you, New York Football Giants. But Saquon is going against a Chief defense, and Steve Spagnuolo in the playoffs has not allowed a 100-yard rusher, period, with his defense when it comes to this time, and especially in this game. So that is, as Harris said, their 100% focus is going to be loading the box. But the problem is when you load the box with 8 people, you have one-on-ones on the outside, and then you also have one of the better tight ends that goes over the middle, and both AJ and Devontae can do that as well. So it's essentially pick your poison from there and see what happens. But I do believe I'm saying Saquon's going to have 120 rushing yards this game. That's my thought on that. And that's why I believe he's a key factor. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
I think he breaks one. I don't know what he does the rest of the time, but I think he breaks one. A long one.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all.
I don't have much else to say about him. He's fucking awesome. Yeah. Like he's had an amazing year. He's behind an amazing offensive line. They have weapons on the outside that make teams play. And he's capitalizing on it. And he's the best running back in the league.
Agreed. Sam?
Yeah, I have nothing to say, and that is a compliment.
Like, there's no more to say.
There's nothing more to say about this offense and this team. If they're again clicking and not making mistakes and like not getting ahead of themselves, and the defense, I mean, it's we see these strong offenses go head to head all the time in the Super Bowl, and it's like, oh, that's it, like nothing's happening. Like you have 2 pretty good defenses here and 2 really good defensive coordinators, probably the 2 better coordinators in the league, right? I'd say Spags is probably one.
We'll get to that.
Like Vic too. Like it's gonna be a fist fight, and it's just gonna be fun. I know a lot of people are down on this game for that are outside of the areas that serve these teams, and I understand that. But like this is just look at it. I mean, I'm looking at it as not a fan of either team, and just like this is gonna be a fun, really good football game. I'm looking forward to it.
One of my favorite things on this podcast is when Sam says he has nothing to say and then definitely has something to say. Because I always know you have something to say.
It wasn't about Saquon.
I wait for you.
It wasn't.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce. I think he's a huge factor. Last time against the Eagles, he was able to break some big catches. And we know that's what Travis does there in the playoffs is teams focus on him, and yet and still somehow, some way he gets free. He's turned it up in the playoffs. During the regular season, he was kind of just like, going through the motions essentially. But as soon as they got into the playoffs, Travis Kelce came back. He needs to cut that nasty ass mustache. But he is back, and I appreciate what he's doing. If the Chiefs win, I believe this is his last hurrah. I think he rides off into the sunset at this point in time, and goes and does things with his brother. I mean, his brother's capitalizing on it, and he will be able to capitalize on his brand as well too, especially dating one of the most famous artists in the whole entire world, who was dancing to a particular song last night. Appreciate her for that. But I think he's a huge factor in this, which is why the Eagles brought back one of their tight ends during this week to practice and try to mimic that. Your thoughts on Travis Kelce?
I think in order for this game to be closer, though, he has to have a big game. The Eagles are too talented on the outside, cornerback wise. I think they bottle up some of the outside receivers for the Chiefs. I don't know if the Eagles necessarily have like a really good answer over the middle for him. So he's going to have to bring it in. I think if he does have a big game, the Chiefs will be close. But if he doesn't, I don't see this being close at all.
Yeah, we've said it all year too. Like I haven't been worried about Travis Kelce. He's not the same player he was years ago, but we've seen it. We saw it last week. We've seen it, throughout parts of the season. Like when he's needed, he's there, and he's still one of the bigger threats in this league to get open and score a touchdown here. I'm if anything a little worried about this Chiefs offense in the sense of they have scored more than 30 points twice this year. It was week 9 against the Bucks in overtime, and then last week they scored 32 points and gave up 29. So I think it just seems it's been harder for this Kansas City team to score than the Eagles throughout the year. But so I'm a little worried there. And that'll be a tough task for both of these defenses, as we mentioned. But as far, I'm not, Travis has shown, even though he voluntarily puts himself in the middle of a lot of things, that he's still able to produce and, is up for the moment here. And he was a first ballot Hall of Famer before he even met Taylor Swift. So, I don't want to, I've heard this so much lately. And it's just
people are saying that he wasn't.
I've just seen Travis Kelce's so popular. So, yeah, he is probably the most popular football player now.
He was very popular prior to that, but yeah,
he was a Hall of Famer before 2 years ago, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're saying no, then I don't know what you're looking at. Yeah. But shut the fuck up. Just
I love that.
It just drives me nuts, man. Some of these stupid narratives, for content and clickbait stuff, it's just it drives me nuts.
There's one big narrative that the NFL is rigged, which I've had to argue with one of my best friends about this. And I said, if you really think that these players the NFL is completely rigged this way, you're out of your damn mind. I know it's the fun narrative to run with. I know there's a bunch of missed calls and whatnot. It's not rigged. But let's talk about defense. Harrison just mentioned he didn't know if the Eagles had somebody to play in the middle. I know somebody. His name is Zach Bond. He's probably the defensive player of the year. Was a special teams guy, all pro. That guy. I think that'll be the only
we
one.
Mentioned him, and we mentioned him and talked to him last week. I just know him more as a run stopping.
Oh, he's more than that.
He's getting out in coverage. Okay.
He's more than that.
I believe you.
You'll see. I mean, he was peanut punching a lot of things throughout this playoffs, and he's one of the reasons he's everywhere on that field. The Nakobe Dean going down was a big thing, but Oren Burks stepped up and has stepped up for sure, and that's helped out. But so you have Spags' defense and you have Vic Fangio's defense. Vic Fangio is 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes' teams, I believe, at this point in time, and that is, I mean, that's in part with having no offense on the opposite side playing against them. So I mean, it's kind of hard for your defense to be out there all the time if your offense can't do that. He doesn't necessarily have that this time. What he's done since the Buccaneers game of when Cooper DeJean was finally able to play, putting him in the slot, that changed the Eagles defense. turned it all around completely. They went from being one of the worst to being the best defense in the league statistically all around, having him in the slot. Quinyon Mitchell out there, another rookie having a phenomenal year. Then you also have the old vet, the OG, and Darius Slay, who's probably going to piss me off several times during this game. But he will be out there doing what he has to do. And then you have Reed Blankenship and CJ Gardner-Johnson in the back. But the real places will be won or lost. I mentioned this with Harrison last week, is up front with that defensive line is what the Eagles do very, very well. Their offensive line and defensive line are going to absolutely be the key in this. And there's one person in particular that I'm talking about, Jalen Carter. Aaron Donald even has gone out on his own to even say that he's took the torch from me. So when you see something like that, I love saying, have you not watched Jalen Carter, Harrison?
No,
it's not you, Sam. Say it once.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, it's Harrison.
What the hell are you talking about?
He's great. He's very good. But like Aaron Donald, come on, man.
I didn't say that. I'm not comparing him to Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald said he took the torch from him. So Aaron Donald himself is saying this.
As like a defensive, like
I guess you haven't really watched Jalen Carter or his tape.
I have, but like Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, like those guys exist.
Yes, they do exist, but Myles Garrett is a defensive end.
Yeah.
Jalen Carter is not a defensive end. He plays an interior lineman, a defensive lineman. So those people that you're talking about, yes, they are amazing, but where he is in the middle.
Specifying
yes.
I didn't know if he was specifying D line.
No, he's talking about where he plays position wise, and it's what he does. Again, I still don't know how the league allowed that to happen, but
I was shaking.
I know that's why you were shaking your head.
How did he go to like the 10th pick in the draft? Like, how did that happen?
They people said character.
Man, the Saints
characters.
What?
He killed someone.
He did not.
Well, right. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
He did. Well, he did not.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
It was not a good situation.
It was not a great situation, but
you're right.
He did not. So, I mean,
I forgot about that part.
I mean, they said that about Ray Lewis too, and then he went on and won a Super Bowl, Harrison. But whatever. What are we talking about here?
We're talking about why he's slipping.
No, I know. I'm saying I know why. I said it's character issues, but a team still had to take a chance on him, and he dropped that far, and his talent was all this. So you got to go to an organization that is more than willing to work around you. And the Eagles have taken several players that the league has considered to be taboo, like Michael Vick coming off of the dog situation, and then he went and excelled. So it depends on what team and organization that you have that is prepared and has the people in place to be like, okay, we know you had some character issues. We're going to change that shit immediately. And that's what they were able to do.
We've seen this. You take a gamble on, and not every situation is the same. And I understand what you're talking about, Harrison, like totally. But just, to talk about culture, it's just a different.
It's completely fair, for them to take a chance on him. Even second chances so much. But we know why.
There's no denying that. I knew.
I was just talking about and Hayes knew what I was talking about. Just the fact that like the Eagles, like the league lets the Eagles like this happen all the time.
Yes.
Like it's just the Kobe Dean in the third round. I know he had a torn ACL or whatever, but like here he is.
They were the benefactors. That's for sure.
Let's just we'll take the gamble. And the gamble doesn't always pay off.
No, it doesn't. But it's been working pretty recently. But on the opposite side, like I said, Spags is a Hall of Fame assistant coach. He's literally a Hall of Fame assistant coach. Every time he gets into these big games, he schemes it up like nobody. And it's crazy that he was a former coordinator for the Eagles, former coordinator for the Giants, and did his thing while he's there. And he always has tough teams. But ever since him and Andy went to Kansas City, it's been a marriage that has been damn near unstoppable at this point in time. And you look at outside of up front with Jones and whatnot, I look at that defense and I'm kind of just like, there's like two people that really, really stand out to me, but yet and still they make plays all the time. They're there. And I think with this Chiefs team, even with their offense, which we'll get into in a second, but they always have somebody step up in the big game that is not the guys that you think it's going to be. Last time the Eagles and Chiefs played, it was Juju Smith-Schuster. right? He went off for whatever reason, probably because James Bradbury was out there. But there's always somebody that goes off. Now,
Darius Toney, Malcolm Brown,
yes,
like just
yes,
thinking of like
yes.
some of these.
And
like,
now they have
guys,
DeAndre Hopkins. They got Worthy. They got Juju there still. They got Kelsey. And what's the white wide receiver's name? I don't even remember his name. It's gonna bother me.
Watson?
Is that his name?
On the Chiefs. I was just
Chiefs,
talking about
yeah.
Super
Well, no, I'm
Bowl
talking about
heroes in general
currently on there.
Oh.
I can't think of his name. I'll check it.
Yeah, Justin Watson.
Justin Watson.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
he's nice as well too. So it's going to take one of those guys at Harrison's point as we kind of transition, since we already just talked about the defense. As we transition into there, like KC's wide receivers are going to need to step up, and it's going to need to be one of these unsung heroes outside of Kelsey and Mahomes to be the guy that they didn't expect to go off or get the game plan to them and get them over the top, which can obviously make or break it, but it's going to need to be one guy. I would say if there's one guy that you guys think would potentially go off for the Chiefs, who do you think it would be that'd be the unsung hero, the X factor of this game if they were to win?
I would go Worthy just because of the speed.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe D-Hop has some left in the tank. Like he's played well, but I think it would be Worthy.
Okay.
I can't count this team out, and it could be anyone. And I think that's what we've seen throughout this era of football with Patrick Mahomes is, you're just going to spread the ball around. And, they're clearly it's a different type of offense than when Tyreek Hill was here and Kelsey's in the middle and, you could just throw bombs. It could be Noah Gray. I mean, we've seen it all year with, teams double teaming Kelsey and then Noah Gray, the other tight end on the other end, just known as a blocking tight end. And, he had some pretty solid numbers this year especially when Kelsey was, double teamed or, not open. So yeah, it could be there too.
I think it's either Watson.
Knows how to win.
I think it's either Watson or Pacheco coming out of the backfield to catch. Because I don't think they're going to get many rushing yards because the Eagles play the run very, very well. But you can also use your running back in another ways. Now that I have to worry about your running back leaking out into the flat, I have to worry about your running back doing a Texas route. Now it's going behind where Travis Kelsey goes, and now he's wide open in the middle of the field. I'm sure we're going to see several plays like that you see Travis empty out the middle, and then here you see Pacheco coming out, Texas route, boom, boom, and now he's right behind him, and it's just following from there. So if I'm thinking from the Chiefs' perspective, that's what I'm thinking, like, how can we have them focus on these pieces and utilize these other pieces? Worthy takes the top off, and then Watson comes under, and then he's got 20 yards that he picks up a huge chunk because you're worried about him going over the top, right? But also with the Eagles defense, Vic Fangio barely rushes or blitzes. So with a team like that and how it's built is when they just use their front four to get the pressure on the quarterback. If they can get there, then it's going to be hard for you to pass and get somebody open all the time because they're sitting right on your wide receivers, they're sitting on your tight ends to do what you have to do. So that Worthy part that you mentioned, Harrison, if he's somehow, some way able to get something over the top, now the Eagles have to worry about, okay, well, now we got to worry about this spacing out and going from there. And maybe we send somebody. If Patrick is sitting there all day, we got to blitz, which, as we know, is a terrible thing to do, to blitz against Patrick Mahomes, because he will eat you up as soon as you do that. So I think that's very, very intriguing in that aspect. Anything else that you guys see to believe a key factor in this game, or anything that you're looking for in this game before we get to the scores? All right.
Hope the refs let them play.
On them all.
You said the refs. the refs.
I hope the refs let them play.
The zebras, yeah. Well, the easiest way to get the refs out of it is just beat them by enough so that it doesn't matter what the refs do. So there's that. Who wins and what is the score? I obviously have the Eagles, and I have them winning by 2 touchdowns. I have them winning 35-21. Harrison has the Birds as well, which I told you to pick the Chiefs because you've been picking against the Eagles again. So I'm going to say Harrison picked the Chiefs to win 31-17 because that's what I see it as. And Sam has the Birds winning 31-28. Gentlemen, your thoughts now that all the picks are in?
I'll go first. Unless you want to go first, Sam.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go.
Lifelong Eagles fan here. I just want to let you talk.
Yeah.
I want to give you space.
Again, I'm so proud of the team. This is our moment. We're just the better team. We're just the better team. And that's it. No, but seriously,
You need him.
I kind of went back and forth. I thought if the game was close, the Chiefs would win. I think just because of Patrick Mahomes' proficiency in close games and the Chiefs' proficiency in close games overall. And then I started to think, am I overthinking it? And it's like the Eagles are they're better at so many facets of the game, in my opinion, like offensive line, defensive line, corners, safeties, running back, wide receivers. I mean, I feel like they have the edge in almost all of those places, not by a lot, but like I feel like they do have the edge. And they played a close game the first time in the Super Bowl, and the Eagles are better, I think way better, and the Chiefs are a little bit worse, in my opinion, than where they were 2 years ago. So that's kind of what shook it out for me. And I think if the Eagles can allow the refs to get involved in this game, I think they win pretty big. But I've been wrong this year.
That's why he's choosing the Chiefs. He was confused by saying the Eagles. He meant Chiefs. So, yep, that's right. Go ahead, Sam.
Last weekend I was in Florida and it was Friday night, and I'm sitting in my hotel with my wife, and I make the graphics for Instagram, and I was going to pick the Chiefs to beat the Bills because of this, exactly what you said, Harrison, like this in a close game. And I know I'm picking a close game. Like the Chiefs usually don't beat themselves here, and not that other teams don't, but they just in the biggest spots, they usually don't. And I made the graphic. I just never posted anything. So I've been going back and forth for the last week of like who's going to win this game. I think the Eagles are. I agree. I think the Eagles are just a better team everywhere, almost everywhere, except for quarterback, tight end. I'm sure there's. We could go individually at positions here, but and head coach, but. They've been in this moment and they can win, and it doesn't seem like situations get too big for them. That said, I just think this Eagles team's better, so I'm just going to go like talent right now. But I don't feel great about it, and if I was an Eagles fan, I understand you not feeling great about it. But that's why I'm just excited about a really good game, because I think it's just going to be a good game.
I told you guys on this podcast several times that I don't like betting against Patrick Mahomes unless it's my team. And here we are. The reason why I chose the Eagles winning by 2 touchdowns is I believe in the first half that the game is going to be separated by a field goal or touchdown going into the second half. But the Eagles wear on teams in the second half, and that's when they put up most of their points because they're able to run the ball. Now, I've heard the whole entire year of how teams are going to stop Saquon Barkley over and over and over again, and it has not worked yet. Even in the games that they've lost, Saquon has still done what he's had to do. And he will continue to do what he has to do because it's this man's birthday. This man just got engaged, and it's his birthday on Super Bowl Sunday. It's also Cooper.
Is it really?
Yes, it's his birthday. Awesome. It's Cooper DeJean's birthday, and then it's also Vince Papali's birthday. If you don't know who Vince Papali is, so there's 3 Eagles birthdays on there. If you're going to load the box, Jalen is in a different type of mode, and I could just see a killer and know a killer when I see one. And he is in a different type of mode at this point in time, and he does not give a damn what anybody thinks. He is just going to win and doesn't care how it looks, and the team seems that way as well. But also that big-ass offensive line is going to push a lot of people over. I know Jones is going to be up there, and he's going to have something to say about it as he's one of the better defensive players in the league. But I think it's just too much, and I think the Eagles are going to just pull away in the second half and take it from there. I think as you guys have both highlighted, they're really good in several spots, and they built this team to be and do just that. But I also believe the chip on their shoulder from losing last time left a bad taste in their mouth. And I can't wait to be on Broad Street at the parade celebrating. So go Birds. And that is that. I'll be at the parade again. I was at the last one. I'll be at this one.
I'll be there too.
No, you won't. No,
Yes,
you
I
won't.
will.
You're just
Harrison already took off of work.
He did not.
Yeah, I put the PTO in already.
He did not.
He told me. He texted me. He
Yeah.
told me.
I hope when I see you, Sam, you're aware that these hands will be put on you. And Harrison, you already know what time it is for you and doing all this.
When are we coming over? When are you?
You are definitely not allowed over. Actually, you're allowed over, Sam.
Thanks, bro.
Harrison is a whole different thing. Harrison's only allowed over if he actually wears Eagle stuff.
I'm having a Super Bowl get together, Hayes. You're definitely invited.
I'm not coming. You already know this. You already know this.
Sam, you're also invited.
He already knows this. Yeah. All pro Myles Garrett, as Harrison mentioned before, one of the better defensive players in the league and definitely top 3 in my opinion, has requested to be traded from the Browns. Browns said they're not trading him. Of course they're saying this, but it depends on what he does from this point. But what Myles Garrett has said, he said, as a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl, and that goal fuels me today no more than ever. My love for the community of Northeast Ohio and the incredible fan base of the Cleveland Browns has made this one of the toughest decisions of my life. Those past 8 years have shaped me into the man that I am today. While I loved calling this city my home, my desire to win and compete on the biggest stages won't allow me to be complacent. The goal was never to go to Cleveland, go from Cleveland to Canton. It was always been to compete for a Super Bowl win. With that in mind, I have requested a trade from the Cleveland Browns. There's 2 ways to look at this of how it potentially is going to go. Is he's doing this to get more money, which, as we've seen play out in recent memory, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel saying they want out to get a contract. But I genuinely believe in this situation that Myles Garrett literally wants to leave. And I don't think he says that lighthearted because he's actually one of the owners of the Cavs, one of the investors in the Cavs. So he has stake in the Cavs. So he's not saying it lightly. He does love them. He wouldn't have invested in that. I mean, but he might have anyway, because if you're a smart businessman, you do what you got to do. But I 100% hope he gets out of Cleveland and goes to a contender. I pray Howie Jamal Roseman does something wild again and somehow, some way does it. I know the Browns have said even if they were offered 2 first-round picks, it doesn't matter. They're not budging. So this could be an easy talk if they go and say, hey, listen, we'll pay you X amount of money and you get to make the decision on what we do next with the quarterback and the organization moving forward. Or it's going to get real messy and he's going to be like, you know what, I just don't care. I want out and I'm not going to play until I get out. So you make this easier, make it hard. Gentlemen, how do you think this is going to go? This is
like Dame leaving Portland. He's going to request to leave. He never did. He's going to request. He never did. And big shot after big shot, and then losing season after losing season. And it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And like this is just he's just been right. He's just been a model citizen in Cleveland. He was drafted to the worst team in football. This team's not far from probably the worst team in football now. They have the first pick in the draft, second pick. Like they're like this team's not good.
Yeah.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And it's like the same, we give Joe Thomas on the same team, his teammate at one point, like again, first ballot Hall of Famer, drafted to this awful team, stayed there for 15 years, never said a damn word. Like, cool. That's great. But like, I have no problem with this. And, this is just how it is. I mean, you can do it this way. You could do it Jimmy Butler's way. But like, how many GMs have called the Browns today after this statement? I hope almost all of them. And like, this is why the Mavericks thing is asinine to me. Because you get something that leaks out and say, Luka's requesting a trade, even if it's the Mavs that are leaking it out. And then Nico has to say, we're not trading Luka, and then how many freaking offers do you get for Luka Doncic 2 days later? Like, that's how you do this. Take notes. It drives me nuts, man.
I couldn't tell.
The Dame Lillard comparison is spot on.
It's just like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Kevin Garnett in Minnesota, like what do you? What's left? Like what can we do here? How many quarterbacks have been on that damn Tim Couch jersey since Myles Garrett came in 2015, whenever it was? Like, how many more names have been there? Like how?
Yeah, 17. I think he's paid. I think he's paid his. I hope they do it the easy way. I mean, the guy deserves.
He does deserve it. He does.
To play for a contender, to be on a winning team. He's done so much for that franchise. Obviously, not enough because one can't do it all. And we talked about their trials and tribulations over and over the many years. But yeah, I hope they just do it the easy way. Get fair value. Probably not going to get fair value for him, but yeah, let him move on.
A smart playoff team in the back of the first round of the draft is going to set the Ravens, and you mentioned it with the Eagles before. Like, this is what they do: throw you a first round pick. You want next year's? Okay, I'll give you next year's first round pick. Like, and here you go. You have an all pro edge rusher, probably on the other side of another talented edge rusher. Like, and that's how that's how the good teams operate.
Also, this was just sent to me. Shout out to Farkas, but online pet retailer Chewy said they will give away 59,000 free treats for birds, cats, and dogs if the Philadelphia Eagles win Super Bowl 59. So that's another reason for you guys to go for them, you pet lovers. As I pet my dog and go from there.
What a class organization we root for.
Wow. It's not the Eagles doing it. It's Chewy doing it. Chill out.
But they want to stand up. They want to align themselves with the brand as great as the Philadelphia Eagles and the city of Philadelphia and the Eagles organization. I mean, no brainer.
So this next guy plays for a team that is an animal that you should never own, which is a Bengal, and that's Ja'Marr Chase, who is projected to sign for 5 years, $215 million. That time when we were talking about that they should probably sign Ja'Marr Chase now before the price goes up? Yeah, they didn't do that, and he went on to win the Triple Crown. So his price is even higher than what it was before. Does he get this contract? I'm going to just immediately say yes, and I hope he gets every cent that he wants and more.
You don't do this in sports where you just bet on yourself like this. Like, this could have been, I mean, this is all life-changing money, and even if he got hurt in week 1, it still would have been life-changing money for anyone. I'm not saying that, but just the fact that he put up the season that he did, he had the preseason and previous offseason that he did, and the Bengals just dragged their feet, and then CD was the last one to get signed, right? I just looked that deal up. 4 years, $136. That's $35 million a year. I don't know what the guaranteed is. So what'd you just say? 5 for $215?
Yep.
So what's that? $42 million a year? $45 million a year? Something like crazy. I don't know. Like, a little cheaper if you just paid them the value of the.
How much is it a year?
215 divided by 5.
43 million a year.
43.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
and
Justin
CD was 136 for 4.
What did Justin Jefferson get?
140 for 4.
Yeah, he definitely wants more than Justin because it's just their friendly competition.
He wanted more than Justin a year.
Yeah, I know.
And it was warranted then, and now he's no doubt the top wide receiver in football. Yep. I mean, you could still say that Justin. I'm not going to argue there.
Yeah,
but but here you go. It's just like poor franchises make poor decisions, and this is a Bengals.
$8 million more. I just don't know if he's $8 million more than Justin Jefferson. I think if they get in line with Justin Jefferson's number, I think that's fair. I think more than that is all.
I think it's you got to remember now it's also a new year. The price is going up, revenue's going up, and then also what he just did. So what the price was yesterday's price is not today's price. Yeah, that's literally this. So yeah, it would have been great if they did that then, but I don't think that's the case anymore. He's going to get whatever he want to get at this point, and that means T. Higgins is probably not going to be on the Bengals next year, and that sucks because that allows him to get open in certain situations because they have to worry about him on the opposite side.
When T's on,
when he's on the field, absolutely.
We all love T. Higgins when he's on the field.
You saw what he did when he was on the field, so it's great. Another a guy that's going to be a Hall of Famer is a kicker, and if you guys know what happens with kickers, they have to get stretched out and go get massages at times. And this particular one apparently likes to get them a little too much. That would be Justin Tucker. Tucker the Tugger. He is now involved in a massage scandal, just like Deshaun Watson. And I said immediately, speaking with a friend, that I hope they keep the same energy that they kept with Deshaun Watson, which he then reminded me Deshaun Watson is a quarterback compared to a kicker. And quarterbacks, as we know, are the faces of the franchise. So they're highlighted more. I heard that. That's great. That's cool. They still need to talk about this more. And apparently this has happened a while ago. He's been banned from 2 spas in the Baltimore area. And apparently some of these 6 massage therapists says that this young man has exposed his genitalia several times and done other things. You can read up on it. I'm going to spare you from all this stuff, but interesting read. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on Tucker the Tugger?
Truly have nothing. I'm going to remove myself from this conversation.
He's really leaving.
I'm not really leaving. No. When we get to the next topic, I'll chime in. But this one,
I'm all for the same Deshaun Watson energy. You know, you want to play like numbers, like how many lawsuits? I don't care. Like, it's like one's enough. Like this is bad. Yeah. It's a bad look for, you know, a great player and perceived to be a good person and a great organization. But like, not if this is what's happening. So yeah, that same energy. It's not Deshaun Watson. He's not the quarterback. He did get paid $200 million guaranteed. All that, I get all of it. Yeah, but let's treat it with the same energy.
Well, we all Sam, know while you're talking about this, what does this do to his Hall of Fame status? Because he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, does this tarnish that? Does he not now? Is he not a first ballot? Does he get in on last ballot? Does this affect when he gets in? Does it affect him not getting in at all? Is now the question. If this is all true and proven to all be true,
I see. Like, does that? I'm asking a question. Yes. Does the NFL Hall of Fame, like, I know they vote on players getting in differently than baseball. I know baseball is so up their own butt and with morality and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. And I was on, the steroid hill, like, don't let these guys in forever when I was in my 20s too. Like, so, but I don't know, does the NFL have have they done any? I don't want to open this conversation with like comparing certain things, but there's players in Canton that have done
worse, potentially
god awful things, right? And so, like, I just don't know how that selection process works and how much of a curve that's graded on. Because I know if he was a baseball player,
he'd probably not.
He's and again, if morality, it's an important thing, and if that's part of what is, the standards, then sure, don't let him in. I think he's a Hall of Fame kicker. I agree. Know if there is another Hall of Fame kicker.
There is a couple.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, in general, like, so, like, it's, I don't know. I'm not well versed enough to talk about this. Maybe Harrison should talk a little more about it.
No, Harrison's trying to dodge this.
About Hall of Fame kickers.
Well, there's Mort Anderson that's in there, and then there's
Morgan Anderson. We got Luke Rosa, Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah, I know there's I'm just saying, like,
There's a few. Do they take morality into?
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea if they do or don't. I don't think the NFL does compare to like you said, baseball, because there's a lot of different things. But I mean, who knows? In this day and age, it might be different compared to what it used to be. You know?
Yeah, and I'm not comparing the actions of one guy to another. Just bad apples across all the sports Hall of Fames. It's just I don't know enough about the politics of the situation to say. I'd say his resume is, of course, he's Hall of Fame kicker. I don't know if there's another one in the league, you know, but this sucks. Like, this is not a cool situation for the women involved,
Nope.
the team, all of it. I don't condone an ounce of it, but yeah, I don't know enough to say.
Damn, you want to know what I also don't condone? Chip Kelly being back in the NFL.
Woo.
Don't condone that at all. Chip Kelly is back, and he's the offensive coordinator of the Raiders. He's getting paid about $6 million a year. I didn't care to even look up how long his contract is, but he immediately becomes another crazy thing, the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. Make it make sense to me.
I didn't even know this happened until I read this.
Yes. He
when
comes from Ohio State
been?
off winning a national championship. Never as the head coach, by the way, and comes in, and now he's back in the NFL where he tarnished his name, and is now the new offensive coordinator under Pete Carroll's new regime, and he becomes the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. Now, for those that are wondering, if you aren't aware, assistant coaches and coaches, their salary does not affect the salary cap at all. It's a completely different thing. So they can pay the coaches whatever they want to pay with obviously whatever money that they have. But the fact, I think the part, obviously Chip Kelly left a bad taste in my mouth and most Eagles fans' mouth. But the highest paid coordinator in NFL?
I mean, it's like whoever's like the latest, like how much is Ben Johnson getting paid as coach compared to coaches? Like he's the 8th highest paid coach.
He's been in the NFL.
Yeah, Chip Kelly has.
I'm talking about like in recent consecutive years. Chip had to leave to go back to UCLA to do all this, and now he's coming back in, and now he's the highest paid.
Right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, after. Yep, correct.
But still, it's just one of those things where it's like the new going rate for this, and yeah, he's coming out. It probably took a lot to get him out of Columbus, and that's what it cost, and that's what Pete wanted, and be interesting to see what that offense, what a Chip Kelly NFL offense looks like in 2025 in Vegas. So
the Eagles have an opportunity to do something great next season because the Raiders come to Philly, and they have a perfect opportunity to make Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy the captains, the honorary captains of the game. So I hope they somehow, some way
retire their numbers that day or something.
No, they choose like for each game, there's an honorary captain to get people hyped and whatnot. Yeah. Like the NFC Championship, it was Nick Foles. The game before that, it was Brian Dawkins. So I don't know who they have for this one, if they're even able to have somebody. But yeah, for that game, they should definitely have Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, maybe even go get Jeremy Maclin as well too. Bring him there. Maybe even Mike Vick. Just bring them all back and just have them be honorary for that game.
Who was the wide receiver from Florida?
Riley Cooper.
Riley Cooper, bring him in.
No, you
right.
can leave his race. Right? You can leave his racist ass wherever the hell he is.
remember that? What was that? 2014 Eagles? Like Chip Kelly is going to revolutionize offense in the NFL.
Yes,
like,
Sam, I remember.
Oh my god, I remember.
I remember it all too well, Sam. Thank you.
Did that work?
Okay, well, this has been the Chasing Points podcast. We had a wonderful time with you guys here today, and Sam may not be able to make it to the next one, so this is going to be a great outro from Sam here. So, Sam, close it out for probably your last time.
Wow, what's this about?
You know what you just did. You know what you just did.
I was making fun of Chip Kelly.
That's why you did that. It was making fun of the Eagles too. It hurt.
Oh no, I love the Eagles. I have family members that are Eagles fans. I have close friends, including you, that are Eagles fans.
You
Harrison
know what
is an
that
Eagles
sounds
fan.
like is when somebody says like, "I'm not a racist," like I have a black friend. I know
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
it
it just
does sound
sounded
like
like,
that.
Sam.
You're right.
So this is
And
why I
that's
said,
not-
"Yep." He's not racist, by the way, everybody. He loves me, so it's okay. I don't know about Harrison though. Sam, take us out.
Thanks, Harrison, for joining us today. And Hayes, you
Wouldn't
as
miss it for the
well.
world, guys.
I'll see you both at your respective homes on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to all the Eagles fans. And 161 in the books. Till next week. Tune in. Peace.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
On the road to victory.
I finished it.
Fly, Eagles, fly. Score a touchdown.
1, 2, 3.
Hit him hard, hit him low.
See, he's not an Eagles fan. Hit him low, hit him high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. EAGLES, Eagles. I should have spelled it like the mayor, though. Goodbye, everybody.